What's going on, everybody? Core Conversations for a Friday. It is a Freestyle Friday, and I have no headphones. I couldn't find them, but that's all good. It's going to be a good time, as always. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get some housekeeping things out the way, and then we're going to get this going. Body Wellness by Gail. What's going on? Sunny, how are you? Going more, Joe. Let's see. Core Conversations podcast. Like, subscribe, and share. How is everybody doing? Sunny, how's Texas? Hot. Yeah, it's hot everywhere right now. So the other day we had a fun conversation. So actually, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, crazy good conversations. I need to review all those, compile those. So many good talking points out of all those conversations. So get a chance, check those out. So many talking points from those conversations. And from Renee. Paul, how are you? Good to see you again. Thanks for jumping in. I love some of the conversations that we have between the conversations. And it seems like many people that are on these pages, in these conversations, kind of are on the same page with certain things. And I'll give you an example of something that happened on Monday. When Renee was talking, and she was talking about a lady that she's working with who's pregnant, and she said she wants to get back in shape, whatever that means, blah, blah, blah. And we kind of looked at each other like, yeah, I know what you mean. And what did she mean? What did she mean when she said get back in shape in quotation marks, gave pause, and moved on? What did she mean? Let me just throw that out to you in the chat. First of all, get back in shape in quotation marks. As fitness professionals, what does that phrase mean? What does that phrase mean to you? We're going to talk about this a little bit today. Custom core is what's going on. I apologize for the noise in the background. I don't have my headphones in, so you're gonna pick up a lot of the noise from the gym. And Andrew and Rick working out in the background. Rick's Good Eats. Shout out to Rick's Good Eats, a chef and a restaurant in this area. He's gonna be a guest one day. It's super fun, guys. But Clarissa, what's going on? So this is a phrase, and the funny part about this is that we knew exactly what we're talking about. When Renee was on and she said her client was a pregnant woman and she came to her because she wanted to get back in shape, you know what I mean? And then she went on. And then that sense that we all here as fitness people get it. When someone says they want to get back in shape, that's almost like your ticket to start a conversation about what does get back in shape really mean? What does it mean to the moms to get back into your skinny jeans? Or for you guys to get back into game shape or whatever it is? There's a sense that we get stuck on what social media gives us as images, what people decide to put out as their pictures of perfection, and all these different things, and then we want to get back into that shape and really aren't looking at who we are, where our body's at, what is a realistic expectation for us, what is really important to you, whether it's performance or aesthetics, all those different things. So we glazed over that on Monday, but I want to hang out on it on Friday. What do you say to your clients when they say, I want to get back in shape as one of their goals for their workouts with you? Sunny's putting my pre-baby bikini body that looks hotter than she did before pregnancy based on social media ideals. Right. Right. Now it's funny that you say that. So the pre-baby bikini body that looks hotter than she did before pregnancy, and there's a laugh emoji right after for the record, and based on social media ideals. All right. So Pilates hottie, if you want to join me on screen, Clarissa, I'm more than happy to have you on. I love my resident guests who just jump in. If you're free, jump in, or you can just write in the text what's going on. But that sort of thing is exactly it. And I have to preface it by saying this. My goal with every one of my clients is to have them in the best shape of their life. And that can look different for everybody. And sometimes it's a superficial goal, sometimes it's a competitive goal, sometimes it's a personal goal. Whatever it is, that's how I look at it. So I'll bring her in, bring the Pilates hottie, Clarissa, in, and then we'll. What's going on, my friend?
In Panama.
What's going on in Panama? How do you?
Well, I'm actually headed to Costa Rica, so I'm in the stop is in Panama, and then I go to Costa Rica within the next 30 minutes or so.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm on the go. But what's different? They might come on and talk. So sorry, I'll just wait until they're done. Well, no, I mean, I guess you guys can still hear me, but I think what fitness means, like, I think it means different things to different people. Like, some people maybe just losing 10 pounds, or some people just want to bulk. Like, we rarely talk about people who actually want to gain weight, you know?
Actually want to gain weight, right?
Yeah, like, it means it's a wide array. I mean, people just want to feel healthy, I think, at the end of the day. So as long as you can meet them where they're at, and that's why I always ask, like, hey, what are your goals? And I'm trying to be very, very clear and transparent, because I'm not a magician, and I tell people that. So that's something I think about. Sorry for the noise.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, that's a great point. And it's so funny because we've been talking about pain and some really heavy topics all week, where waking up with freedom of movement has been the thing. But then the other side is that person who wants to gain 5 pounds of muscle that comes to you. They, that needs to be heard too. That needs to be things. Right. So one of the lines I said to my older guys, I have these older, I just call them my athletes. This guy's in the 70s and he's working out hard. And he finished the set and I said to him, man, how many people do you know that are your age that are working this hard?
Right, not at 70.
And he's like, nobody. It's like, exactly. So like, there's that sense of enjoying the process. Sit back, regardless of the fact you're not at your goals, sit back and think about the fact right now that you're the hardest worker in the room. Of your peer group, nobody's working as hard as you. Everybody you know within a 10-year range is sitting at a desk and then playing golf, and you're here working out at 6 o'clock in the morning. Right. Enjoy that.
Or with a cane or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I agree. I'm not going to stay on because I know I'm at the airport and it's distracting, but I will just type in the chat.
Okay. Yes. Okay, well,
All
before
right.
you jump off though, that
Mm-hmm.
sense of like when someone comes at you with the I want to get back in shape, and you just
Mm-hmm.
know that they're coming from a distorted perspective of what that looks like. How do you navigate that conversation with somebody?
Well, I asked them like, well, okay, so what does that mean? Like, I literally say like, what does that mean? Like, what is getting back in shape? And they're like, usually, because I in some aspect, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit of a billboard. So like, they're like, well, I want really toned arms like you.
Like,
And I'm like, all right, well, are you willing to like lift? Are you willing to like do these bicep curls? Are you willing to work your delts and your rhomboids? Are you willing to do that? Like, because this didn't happen overnight. So, like, are you trying to put in this work or not? Like, I'm very, very transparent with them. And
yeah,
they're like, they'll start for a little bit, and then they're like, maybe they'll scale back, or they keep going. Because I've had quite a few people who've really like toned up really nicely, especially in their arms. Because a lot of the women that I get, they're like, oh, I hate this part underneath my arm, the tricep area. So we focus a lot on that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. So
All
that's cool.
right.
All right.
Well,
I'm
enjoy your
sorry.
trip.
Yes. Bye.
Thanks, Jamal.
All right.
Hi there, Andrew and Mitchell. We had such a fun time the other day. If you have a second, want to jump back on again, and we can recap some of the chaos that you were thrown in the midst of, that would be so fun. Um, what's going on, Shannon and Kiva? I haven't seen you in a long time. Hope everything's going well. Okay, cool. Andrew is coming on.
We'll see if this works because I'm outside at the moment.
It's
So
all good.
I'm trying to find a place that's not too loud. But yeah,
Actually,
I'm
just
doing
like
my
you're
workout while I listen to you.
absolutely your headphones, like it's fine. Like I can't hear anything background noise wise.
Okay. All right. How are you?
I'm
How
good.
are things?
Yesterday, oh, I had to take yesterday off. I had a meeting and actually finished on time to get back onto the core conversations, but it just yeah, I was already kind of halfway through the hours, so I didn't bother. But um,
I think it's healthy to take some time off, you
absolutely,
know, because
yeah,
you're here every, what, 5 days a week usually, right?
great.
That's a lot of dedication.
It's a rhythm.
I know. I know. Sometimes the routine and the schedule works.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's and even like to take, I legit was done at 10. I thought, I'm not gonna come on anyways. I'm just gonna just do my thing, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Self-care.
it's self-care,
I love
exactly.
it.
Yeah. I got some more self-care today. I have one client. I'm done at noon for the day. So that's even in the midst
I
of
mean,
this busy week. That's the thing that I do. Like I'll carve out like that whole afternoon and just like not think campaign or business, whatever. Just do whatever I want.
yeah.
Right.
I think that when we have, which most of us do, like, in our life, I think when we have multiple things happening, for me, the most important thing is to have that schedule and to write things down in it that are, okay, this is my time that I'm going to work out, or this is my time that I'm going to go out with somebody, and to really make that time.
Yes.
And, it does change. For me, it changes day to day. But I was
Right.
like, okay, I have a client at 11. I had a client this morning. I'm out walking. And then when I was walking, I was like, oh, it's 10. Oh, Martin's on. Let me
All
check
right.
in and see what's
I, I,
happening.
I don't want to pull you away from your workout, so like we'll make this quick.
Sorry.
But that was so fun. That was like
So
so
fun.
life giving. That conversation the other
I
day.
loved that. And it could have gone on forever. That was great. I loved that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, that was such a people. That was like the most abrupt ending too. Like Instagram doesn't even like warn us that there's like 10 seconds left. I was like, yeah, gone. Like
No, and I agree with you. Like we're so used to seeing each other, not just me and you, but like so many of us in this community online that we get to know each other, right? And for me, I mean, I've talked to you only online. I've seen Misty and Tasha online, and I saw Tasha at Momentum Fest, but I didn't, I didn't want to interfere in what she had going on, so I didn't run up to her and be like, hey, I know you.
Yeah. Great.
I was respectful of that. So it's good to have that conversation with both of them, because I do admire all of you guys, and to have a space that was open for all of us.
Yes.
And to realize we're really on the same page.
Well, I know that.
I know.
And the funny thing is too, and I was saying, like, I think Sunny missed that. She's asked, I missed it. What happened? It was watch Wednesday's core conversation. It was absolutely epic. It was so fun. But
Yeah.
the thing I was saying is that because I know that you kind of have an approach, and Misty has a similar approach, and Tosh, I just made the assumption that you all knew each other.
Right. As we do.
Right. We do now, but I mean, like, I just everyone kind of vibes the same way. So I'm like, well, they must know each other.
I know. Yeah, it was great. I mean, I think the other thing is, I've been where Tasha is right now as far as questioning my place in Pilates. And I feel like that's something that comes up for me all the time because I do other things. And,
yes,
I think that's a normal thing. And I feel at this point where we are, if we're still having this conversation of that's not Pilates, you don't belong here, that to me is such an old storyline.
It's such an old story. Yeah.
That I don't want to be part of that community. I want to be in this community where it's like, yeah, we're questioning, we're curious, we're open and watching and not judging, but like open to, that's interesting. You're doing that. Why are you taking that instead of it like, why are you doing this?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I love the word admire that you used a moment ago, because from my perspective, there is that admiration of the person who has their way, their style, and they're dedicated to that.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, wow, I admire the fact that that's what you bring to this conversation. In the same way, this is what I bring to this conversation. Right. And I don't have to be you, because you're doing a great job of being you right now. Right.
And I agree with you. I admire people who have the thing that works for them and they keep going and working on that. My thing with that is, okay, that's great for you, but it's okay to be open to other people doing other things too. Like, I agree with both of those things. I was trained in what is like, contemporary lineage, and adding modalities as I go for my own growth and then using them in practice. But I just came off of a year-long training with Maria Earle, learning her, she's more of a classical, this is Pilates.
Yes.
And I don't know if classical really, like, I don't know what is what anymore, but that changed my way of teaching Pilates and my understanding of teaching Pilates. But I still do the other things.
Yeah.
But I love that I learned that approach because I respect it. And now I have a deeper understanding and appreciation for the lineage of a certain Pilates type.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I think that's the way that it needs to be presented. Like, it's not an either or conversation. It's a both and kind of conversation.
Both and curiosity and why, and that's interesting. And I wonder, how does that feel in my body if I were to go that way, right? Or, it's interesting that you're doing that. And I think that's what you do on your, on these conversations. And many people I see doing that out in the world. And that's why I'm saying, like, I think it's an old storyline that I choose not to participate in, where it has to be one way or the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well,
that
thank you again.
That was kind of what we were talking about a little bit the other day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna recycle that content as much as I can, because it was gold. And like little things I missed, like that prison Lottie's line that Misty said, I didn't hear that till this morning. Like, too funny.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But maybe we should take Pilates into prison, though. That's the thing. Yoga's there. Art therapy's there. Where's the Pilates?
I've talked to someone on that. If someone can remember who it was that we talked to about that. It was actually, quite a controversial topic, because someone said that it needs to be there, and someone's like, it's already there. And this lady had done the research, and she's like, statistically, it's not. And she spat out like all kinds of stats, and I was like,
I mean, there's there are a lot of programs in prisons, and I don't know the Pilates one, but I also haven't looked for it.
Mhm.
But if there is one, yeah, bring that. I'd like to know about that.
For sure.
And other places.
Right. There's a lot of uncharted.
Let's spread it other places.
Yep. Honestly.
Anyway.
All right. Okay. Back to your workout. That's the personal
Back
trainer
to
of
my
me.
workout. Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks so much, Andrea. Requisite Pilates. How are you, Ivy? Hope you're doing well. And yes, so right, so nothing wrong with adding to the toolbox. It's interesting, you know, and I think it's more than the conversation about adding to your toolbox. It's almost like a conversation about how do you identify yourself? How do you differentiate yourself? How do you present yourself? And the reason why I put it like that is because if I was to go into a gym setting and start teaching a Pilates class, and I go and see the other Pilates instructors beforehand, check out a couple classes, and every one of them are doing like a hybrid of like yoga and core exercises and sprinkling in some Pilates, and it's called Pilates. And I have a really classical method of teaching Pilates, teaching the order, teaching people the vocabulary and the language around the order. Hi, Cecile. How do I present that? Because it's all Pilates. But I would like to educate the people in the room on what's happening right now and how it's different, how it's unique, I guess, from whatever's been taught before. So it's not a snobbery thing as much as a temptation is to be a snob about it. The reality is that I'm presenting something different from my style or from a different whatever. So how do we present those things from the perspective of educating the participants, not from the perspective of our hierarchy, our lineage, but from the perspective of letting people know. You know, I feel like a broken record, but I've said this many times before. When we do our Pilates stuff and we add in other exercises, my kettlebell friend and teacher friend said it like there's kettlebell exercises and then there's exercises with the kettlebell. And I think it's the same with Pilates. There's Pilates exercises and then there's, you know, the exercise that you make up on the spot and then this and there's some yoga moves and stuff like that. And it comes down to, are we educating the people in the room with what we're doing? It doesn't matter if it's right or not, if it's good or not, if it's better or not. Do people know? Are we forever educating our people so that they are armed with their own toolbox when they're on vacation, when they're at work, when they're whatever, and know what to do and know how, like, what's going to work for them, what's not? I think that's like kind of the higher conversation of where I try and land whenever we get onto these dialogues. So I'll put that out there. Cecile, so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. And we send a comment. I work in a studio like that now, and when I teach, the clients all say different teachers bring a different eye. Right, exactly. Hi, Bianca. Were you at CanFit last week? Let's discuss that if you're down. So, yes, and I like that. We can leave it at they have a different eye. That's totally a great way of saying it. I actually might use that. I have a different eye. I'm looking for different things. Oh, good. Too bad. I think that's where, Bianca, I think that's where we met initially, was it not? Yes. And no, I wasn't. I chose not to go last week, so I wasn't at CanFit either. But I heard it was good and a good reunion. Smaller naturally, as most events are on the way back. So next year, when it's in full force, I'm sure I'll be back there, and everyone else will be too, maybe. I like that different eye. That's probably a really good way of landing at it, and I love how our clients or our students can give us wording that is more adequate than we can come up with sometimes. So yeah, so that's it. So I like that. I don't know how we got there from talking about getting back in shape Bianca's had a baby, and we're talking about someone using their phraseology, get back in shape. What does that mean, and how do we temper that conversation with reality and not looking at social media and all those different things? So it was a fun piece of conversation we had before you showed up. But being a Pilates person, a mover, and a mother, be interested to hear what you have to say on that. Yes. So Cecile, are you free to join me? I'd love to have you on for a moment on our Freestyle Friday, just to talk about all the amazing things that you're doing and your spotlights that you're doing on people still. And like me, you've been so consistent with those highlighting all the amazing instructors. It'd be a fantastic database by now. So yeah, so nice, all good. So Bianca, you weren't there. What's going on with your business? Are you still doing work with Matthew and all that stuff too? Cecile is driving. That is all good. It's time for us to actually have another conversation. I'll reach out to you to book that in. Orhan, long time. Hey, people just rolling back through again. Good to see you all. Hi, Paula. The conversation that we were having last on Tuesday was a powerful one around pain, and I don't want to revisit it because it was, it's pretty traumatic when you had to triggering when you had to go back to those points. And uh, but please check that conversation out and pass it along to the people that you work with. Pass it along to others who may not have that sense of hope in their journey at this point, because we spoke about it from some different angles and really um, shed some light on it. Amanda Grab was in the room. Her handle is Embracing Pain One Day at a Time, and she does some great work as a support group for people who she calls her warriors, people who are also living with chronic pain, and helping them to move, feel freedom of movement, and all that amazing stuff. So she's doing it, and it was just a great conversation. So please check that out. And back at it. So that brought us to Wednesday with Andrea, Tasha Edwards, and Misty Lynn Cotton. And the word that she used, and I put this in my post just at the beginning, was around recognizing the times that we live in, the times when we can truly give expression to the work through us. That representation is important, our lived experience is important, our education is important, and we can present the work to all the people in the way that they need it and be authentic to the work at the same time by, as Missy said, using our own emotional intelligence. What does this person need? And not trying to box them into what we think it needs to be like. And this is the only people that I work with and all those things. Whoever comes in the door, we need to be able to adapt, pivot, etc., and address those people. So that is that was basically the gist of one part of that conversation. And I feel like I'm beating the same drum again, but even for Joseph Pilates, the way that he taught was ever evolving, and it adapted, and exercise adapted to the people that were in the room. And I'm sure many of you are more versed in this than I am, from Eve stretch to certain things that came later in the work, and exercises that actually aren't. There's so much conversation around that, and there's some great scholars on that piece. All that stuff's great. I'm a personal trainer. I like TRX, functional training, bench press, squats, kettlebells, Vipers, functional movement stuff, all that stuff gets layered into my work. One day they're gonna do original 34. The next day they're going to do roll-ups using with their feet in the TRX, and then superset that with a plank to a push-up and a pike, and then grab a kettlebell and do a Turkish get-up, right? So it's all layered in there. So you can't say to me, you can't do that. That's how I do things. You all have your way of doing things. Communicate it, educate, support, all that fun stuff. And that is the emotional intelligence piece that we're talking about on Wednesday. Thoughts? That was a catalyst for Misty's comment, Joe is dead. And be who you are, do what you do. And it was a powerful piece, right? Like we're talking about it, and we get so locked into how we used to do things, how it should look. And like Andrew was saying too, be inquisitive about it, explore it, ask questions about it, but not from a place of elitism, but just from a place of recognizing, differentiating, and celebrating it. So, yes, that was my reflections on that. I loved that conversation. Nice. All right, party people. Well, that is what we have for today. Thank you so much for jumping in. Cecile, it's so good to see you. As for you, Bianca, as well, I'll definitely be reaching out to both of you guys, and Orhan as well, to join us once again. You guys are all doing great work, and it becomes almost more of a touch base to be like, what's going on now? Many of you that I've met were really at this point of, I don't know what to do next. This is who I am, and this is where I am. And it wasn't very much about like, what do I do or what I'm doing now. So I'd love to see how that layers in. I know, Cecile, you're doing a lot of mentoring work with Claire and Sunny and others, but then still have your online elements. Orhan was traveling the world. Bianca's making babies, right? Like, we're doing different things. So it's great to touch base, to celebrate, to promote. And actually, I didn't even mention this. I always say, if you have any online classes, workouts, workshops, those sort of things, put it in the chat. Even after, in the comment section during the live on the replay, please put it in. Let us know what's going on so we can support you, cheer you on, and be part of it. So that is a plan. All right. Well, we are out, party people. Thanks for joining us. We're back at it next week with some great guests as always. Some surprise guests. Our impromptu guests this week were just ridiculous. It was just such a great time. So thank you for joining us, and we are out. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week.